Chapter 6. An honest tale speeds best, being plainly told. I could have freaked out, again. Certainly that would have not been out of character these days, but I didn't. It didn't have anything to do with courage. I think I was simply too exhausted to freak out. I sat down on the wall and took a centering breath, like Dr. Harmony had taught me. Then I remembered the ashes and waved my hand through the air, expecting psychedelic colors to bleed from my fingertips. But no colors bled. I didn't feel drunk or spacey, just confused. It seemed I was in a bit of a predicament. Insanity occurred to me. I really didn't want to be insane. My mind could have snapped from all the pressure. A classic nervous breakdown. Actors have nervous breakdowns all the time. My mind could have created this place as a coping mechanism because I couldn't handle my real world anymore. But if I were truly insane, I wouldn't be worried about it, would I? If I were insane, I'd have no problem with the fact that one minute I was standing outside the Wallingford Theater in New York City, and the next minute I was half a world away in Verona, Italy, where characters from Romeo and Juliet walked the street, speaking English no less. That would seem perfectly reasonable to an insane person, and it didn't seem perfectly reasonable to me. So, not insane. I don't know how long I sat there. Long enough for my arms to start to sunburn. Deep in thought, I didn't notice the little boy until he tugged at my skirt. "My lady?" His eyes were wide with curiosity. He tilted his head and scrunched his freckled nose. "My lady, are you injured?" It's so much easier to admit confusion to a child. I had an overwhelming urge to hug his little frame, to feel the warmth of another human being. I don't know where I am. A few goats had followed the boy from the field. One started nibbling at my hem. The boy frowned. "You're sitting on an old city wall, that's where you are." He came closer. "Did you bump your head on something? Once I bumped my head and it made me forget for a little while. When I fell into that puddle, had I bumped my head? Dorothy bumped her head and woke up in Munchkin land. It made perfect sense that I had woken up in Romeo and Juliet land, having lived the story for the last 6 months. I felt my scalp but felt only the regular bumps. Maybe I had inhaled too much of that ash and it had knocked me out? Could this simply be a dream? Could I be lying in the alley next to the theater at that very moment, with Fernando leaning over me, worried about me smudging my mascara? Clarissa had probably gone back to the dressing room, ecstatic that she was finally going to get her chance. I didn't care. Let Clarissa entertain the stupid admissions committee. I'd take a break in dreamland while she did her thing on stage. My mother could yell at me about stage fright, but she couldn't blame me for being unconscious. A dream, then. I might have bumped my head, I don't remember, I told the little boy. I'm kind of messed up right now. "I guess your dress is a bit messy." The goat tugged at my dress. "Get away," the boy said, pushing the creature's bony rump. It ambled off, taking half my hem with it. "I'm sorry about your dress. How'd a lady like you get it so dirty?" I held out my mud-splotched skirt. I fell in a mud puddle, and last night I vomited all over the front of it. I laughed weakly. "I hate this dress. Your goat's welcome to eat the whole thing." "Are you hungry?" the boy asked, pulling something from his pocket. "This one got a bit flattened, but I know where we can get more. Come on, I'll show you." He took my hand and tugged. "Come on. After I got that bump on my head, my mother made me eat. She said food would make me feel better. Come on." He tugged again. Such a nice little boy. Maybe he had come to guide me through my dream. If I followed him, I would probably figure out what the dream was about. Dreams took girls to wonderful places like Oz and Wonderland. I let him pull me through the grass until we came to a tree, heavy with apricots. He reached up and plucked one, then bit into it. Juice dribbled down his soft chin. "Go on, try one." A black and white goat affectionately rubbed its head against the boy's back. I picked an apricot and cupped it in my hands. It seemed so normal. "I don't know what I'm doing here," I confessed. "You're eating apricots, that's what you're doing." He stuck the rest of the apricot into his mouth, then spit out the pit. "They're delicious." The apricot had absorbed the sun's rays, and its juicy center burst on my tongue. I hadn't realized how hungry I was, and it felt as though I were actually eating. The boy climbed to the thickest branch and began throwing apricots to his goats. I wandered deeper into the field, munching as I went. The summer grass tickled my ankles and apricot juice clung to my fingers as I stared at the outskirts of my dream world, Italian City. Too bad we can't choose our dreams, because I most certainly would have chosen someplace else. As sick as I was of the Capulets and the Montagues, but thankfully my subconscious wasn't forcing me to speak Italian, or even Shakespeare's lingo. In fact, there is no goat herder or apricot orchard in Romeo and Juliet. At least my subconscious had changed the story. The boy took a bell from his pocket and jangled it. The goats lifted their heads and began to amble towards him. I have to be off now. I've got another job to get to. He started to walk away, jingling the bell a few more times. But after a few steps he turned and ran back to me. "You shouldn't stay out here by yourself. There's a Montague over there." He pointed to a large tree, then scampered off. A Montague over there? Curious, I walked slowly towards a gnarled willow. Grapevines curled around its trunk. Sure enough, on the other side, a young man sat, his head resting on his bent knees. He sighed a few times. "Oh, Rosalind." He sighed again, wrapping his arms around his black tights. He was dressed just like the Montagues in our play. A shiver of excitement ran up my spine. I didn't have to ask his name.